I was coming back from a walk along the beach at Low Hawksley with my wife, our dog Pip, and a couple of friends one Tuesday shortly after lunch. We drove round a roundabout on Station Road, over the coast road, and attached to a lamppost was a small yellow rectangular sign. And it just said on it, Jesmond Assembly, with an arrow pointing down the coast road towards Newcastle. Being of an inquisitive nature, I wondered what the Jesmond Assembly was. So as you do, I googled it. And I got about 133 million results in 0.79 seconds. Mind-boggling, isn't it? It turns out it was a group of two-bedroom retirement apartments in Eskdale Terrace in Jesmond. So I then idly scrolled down the 133 million results and came across a web page for something called the Sunday Assembly. And once again, my interest was piqued. Apparently, some years ago, an organisation called the Sunday Assembly was set up as an atheist Sunday morning service meeting, which spread to various places around the country, and which offer a gathering on a Sunday morning. It offers a doctrine and deity-free Sunday gathering for, and these are their own words from their own website, anyone who wants to live better, help often, and wonder more. I have to say their website is actually worth quite a good read. But I think this is fascinating. The parallels between the traditions of the Christian Church and this new movement are, of course, obvious. But what is interesting, however, that this organisation is explicitly responding to an absence of something, an absence of a sense of community, of something to do on a Sunday that gives meaning, purpose, and direction, and perhaps brings a sense of confidence to people's lives, to overcome a perceived lack of care in society. It is based on lack. It's based on absence. It's responding to a vacuum, providing something wholesome, good, and uplifting for people to feeling a lack of these values in their lives and in their communities. And that, of course, is precisely what the Christianity is not doing. We are not here because of the lack of something. The church offers all sorts of things like friendship, music, maybe a little bit of intellectual stimulation. But that's not why we're here. We are here because of a presence. We are here because God is here with us, alongside us. We are here because of something of entirely another order, someone of entirely another order to the things of our human lives. He is called to humanity. He said to us, "Follow me." Our gospel reading this morning reminds us that the kind of presence we are talking about is not the looming, hovering, cloud and thunder type presence that we might oversimplistically call an Old Testament presence, as we read in our reading from Exodus and Moses meeting on top of Mount Sinai. The shepherd and the sweeping woman in Luke's stories today are not reacting normally. We are not meant to read these stories and think, "Ah, yes, I would do just that." we're supposed to question their values and then realize that the whole point of the stories is actually to question our values. The scribes and the Pharisees are unhappy about the company that Jesus is keeping. And so Jesus tells them these extravagantly exaggerated stories. The shepherd leaves 99 sheep to search for one. But why? Sheep die for all sorts of reasons, and no shepherd can ever expect to get through a whole season without losing a single one. The woman turns her house upside down looking for one coin when she has 99 other perfectly good ones. And again, everyone knows that coins go missing. And there is no suggestion that the woman is very poor and cannot afford to lose one, or that the coin is particularly valuable. Both the shepherd and the woman are behaving oddly, just as Jesus is, according to the Pharisees. Christ says to those who criticize him for being present with those who are outside the legal parameters for congregational membership, well, it's not really like that. If you're interested in God, you're interested in me. If you recognize my presence here, then you'll see that it's a sort of presence which goes searching for the 100th sheep, or for the runaway, which lights up a lamp and spends all night finding one elusive coin that's rolled into a dark corner of a room and disguised itself under a pile of dust or dirt. This is a very particular presence. This God who calls us here is the God who is not prepared to say, oh well, 99 is close enough. It's nigh on for pit work. The grace at work here is so amazing, so divine, that 99% is not an option. 1 in 100 is all that is on the table. And when the 10th coin is found, that's not simply popped back into a purse. No. There is rejoicing. There is a party. Imagine that. The hosts of heaven and the angels and archangels erupting into celebration because somebody has turned round. Somebody has come home. When we gather here, we are not addressing an absence. We are coming home. We're coming home back to the presence of God, who has been searching for us, who has been striding through the wilderness or kneeling on a floor, scouring the corners for us before we ever knew it. And the God who continues to search, to call, to seek out the rest of the family, to give us purpose. Right at the centre, right at the heart, is the fact that God is actually here with us. And in the end, all we can do is to bow before that presence. As St. Paul says in our reading this morning, we gather here not to create something, though that does happen as a result. Not to create something, but to respond. Everything is response. Everything is thank you. Everything is praise. And another thing, it's the sheep and the coins that Christ uses as an example. Recognizable, understandable, familiar, So we respond also with recognizable, ordinary, everyday things. The gifts given to us by God are bread and wine, water and oil. The presence we respond to every week is the same. The God who takes the ordinary things and infuses them with holiness and grace, and thus infused, enables them to transform the world. And that is you and me. But bear in mind, even beware. Occasionally he might take someone extraordinary, like a queen. He does it because he's a surprising God, and a God with an odd sense of humour. Amen.